This is how I joined technical high school. Technical high school at times is known as Nairobi Technical. And again, there, there was only two schools in Kenya that were known as technical high school. There was technical high school, Nairobi, and there was technical high school, Mombasa. Yes, we used to have very many technical schools teaching the same subjects like us, but there were only two schools that were called technical high school, THS, because we had Kabete Technical. Yeah, it used to be called Kabete Technical. Now it is a national polytechnic. We used to have Kisumu Technical, which is a national polytechnic. We used to have several. All of them were Sigalagala Technical, but only two schools were called technical high school. And I went to technical high school, Nairobi, or other name, or if you want to call it, the other name is Nairobi Technical. When we were children, children were to be seen but not heard. Sometimes not being seen, yeah, you are there and adults would even assume you are not there. But of course they knew you are there because adults would talk as though you are not there, but be very careful that there are sometimes they could not talk on things which children would, which were stories which were not child friendly. But when they talked, it was as if in that room there was no child. There was only one TV station during those days. It was KBC. It was VOK. Nowadays it's called KBC. So there are those times they would be talking and there is a cartoon going on. But the TV would be muted and that's what we're discussing. We came to love cartoons while muted. Those cartoons used to be Flintstone. Those cartoons used to be Popeye. Those cartoons used to be. There was even Muppet Show and such things. But when adults were in the living room, they were talking their own things. You would even try to stretch your neck and see you would not even try to tell the adult, oh, when you talk, you're stretching out your hands out, that you're even blocking. No, no, no. We learned how to enjoy silent cartoon. It was a horror engage. I mean, it was a horror or even unimaginable for young people to be seen to be arguing with adults. It was a horror. An adult would put on the radio if he so wished. An adult would put on the TV, and if you are watching your favorite cartoon, an adult would even leave alone placing it on mute. He or she would even switch off the TV. And as a child, you had nothing to comment, just kept quiet. Today, if adults were in a place and maybe it reached a time maybe for cartoon on the other channel, or even the channel that you're watching, it reaches a time when adults you decide to discuss whatever you want to discuss. You even find a woman the woman of the house, telling you to keep quiet and allow the children to enjoy their cartoon. The lady of the house nowadays would even tell you to take a walk and let the kids change channels nowadays. But during our time, we would just watch silent. And in fact, we never even wished that the elderly should go and leave us alone, and because we never even knew whether they would leave or anything. So we used to appreciate and take whatever we received. So if it meant watching black and white cartoon, mute, so be it. We got used to that. So all that I've said, I'm trying to show you that those days kids were to be heard and not to be. Kids were to be seen but not to be heard. Kids were to be seen, and whatever people talked, adults, kids could not participate in that. But it happened one day differently. One day something different happened. Uh, there are some visitors who came to visit us at Madaraka Estate. That was 1974. Some men visited my father. And when they visited my father, they started talking. When they started talking, one kept telling everybody who was there that there is a person called city planner. There is a person who is called city planner. He is in the city hall, and he knows how Nairobi will look like in the year 2000. Everybody was shocked, including me. Remember those days, kids were not allowed to engage adults in whatever they talk. But that day I broke a rule. I engaged that visitor. I challenged him. Lando, my father, a disciplinarian of the highest order, wasn't annoyed on this particular time. No, he wasn't annoyed. I wanted to know who the person was and how I could become him in my adult life. The visitor told us that the person is called city planner and he has an office in the city hall. And then I asked him, how can I become a city planner? He told me, you have to go to a technical school. After completing technical school, you have to go to Kenya Polytechnic. After you go to Kenya Polytechnic, you will be employed as a city planner. That day, it was in 1974, and I was in standard 6. That day, I decided that I'll join Nairobi I'll join a technical school. As we were talking, everything now is changed. We started talking about technical schools. I had them mentioning technical schools left, right, and center. Then he told my father that for me to go to technical school, the only two technical schools which were near were Nairobi Technical and Kabete Technical. And if I were to go to Kabete Technical, I should be getting into a bus from Nairobi West, that is Madaraka Estate, all the way to town and then take another one to Kabete. The second one was Nairobi Technical. By then, my father was working with the traffic police. So it was easier for Nairobi Technical because I would be dropped at Karioko as my father heads to Ruaraka. That is how I joined Nairobi Technical on 2nd February 1976, which I think was on a Monday. At Nairobi Technical, we had various courses. There are others which came later, because today I think there are even courses such as electronic, handling computer, anything. But during those time, Nairobi Technical, we had three subjects, technical subjects alone. We had metalwork, we had woodwork, and we had building construction. There are those who studied woodwork, at the same time studied building construction. But most of us went to metalwork. That's why my eyes are that way. Welding, you understand. Uh, of course, when I went to join the police, I played a trick, which I'll tell you. There was somebody who was being tested on his eye and he was taking long. So I went in here and crammed all the letters. I said, the first one is this, just said it quickly. And since I was a Form 6, and they were worried that no Form 6s had passed medical, they did not recheck me again. So that is how I ended up doing metalwork. And I would say that since standard 1, second term, I would want to say that I've always loved the disciplined forces. And the only time when my heart was nearly taken over by, the only time that my heart was nearly taken over by any other profession was when I wanted to be a city planner in Nairobi. I never ended up to be a city planner in Nairobi. In fact, by the time I completed Form 4, yeah, those things had forgotten and so on. So, uh, viewers, that is how I joined Nairobi Technical. Visitors had visited my parents and they were talking about a position that is called city planner. Who who knew how the city would be in the next 25 years? Now things have changed, vindu vichenjanga, because when a city is built, there are plans which are made by city planners, such that in certain areas you don't find certain facilities and whatever. Like bars are not constructed near residential places. And then whatever they do, residential areas have got to have large parts of sewage, such and such a thing. And that is why you find, like my uncle, Peter Kuguru, there's a time he showed me a certain, he had an estate somewhere near the national park. And he used to tell me that already the city planner had planned that in future there's going to be a south, is it southern bypass? Okay, there's going to be a bypass near that. So he was saying that the time he bought that land, people did not know that in the future that place would be prime land. So he bought it very early, and when the bypass started coming, people started going there. I would encourage any young person, especially somebody who is very good in arts, drawing, portrait, or anything whatever. You take architecture. When you take architecture and such a thing, you may, of course, in every generation, there is only one city planner. But who knows? You could end up being the city planner. And one day, when you are called to the university to give a speech, you say that there used to be a detective called JI-TENGE who encouraged me to be a city planner. I also like these jobs. I also encourage youths who go for this artistic jobs that you just don't get, but jobs which mean that you have a love and a talent in that field. My viewers, today you have understood why I joined Technical High School, Nairobi. Have a nice time.